Why is the Linux folder structure so confusing? Actually, it isn't that confusing when you understand it, but for 99% of users, you don't need to know what most of the folders do. Let's start off with the basics. The home folder. This is yours. You can put any of your personal files in here, and you see subfolders for documents, music, pictures, and videos, etc. But you can create your own folders and your own files in here and use it as you see fit. For 99% of people, this is pretty much all you need to know. Now let's go outside of our comfort zone and go all the way to the top level, which is root. Sometimes denoted with the /, but sometimes it just says root. This is the top level and the equivalent of going to C: in Windows. Under this, you will see a bin folder. This is where the system binaries live, or executables, and these are the commands that run things like copy files, delete files, and stuff like that. You don't need to know much more than that. And you'll also notice there's an sbin folder, and these are for system binaries. Again, you don't really need to know much more than they're used for running applications that are required by the system. Essentially, leave these folders alone because there's nothing to see here. Now, not all programs live under this bin and this sbin folder. For you as a user, there is a user system resources folder called USR, and you'll see there's a bin and an sbin in there. Now, this bin folder here is where all your applications like LibreOffice and VLC and things like that live. So that bin folder will have all your applications in it, and then you've got a system bin folder as well. Now, the boot folder is where your Linux kernels live, and it also has this init-read file which has where all your drivers are loaded from, and you will also have your bootloaders that are responsible for loading your system. Most of the time you will not ever need to enter this folder, so if you're an average user, you can ignore this folder. The dev folder is for devices, so say you insert a pair of headphones, you insert a USB drive, you insert a printer or something like that, then that will be listed as a file in the devices folder. And this is how your computer talks to the hardware, by accessing the file and writing to it or reading from it, etc. Now, you don't need to know what goes on in here. You don't access the devices at this level. This is purely for the system to maintain. The etc folder is where you put things like configuration files. So for instance, if you want to configure Bluetooth, you go in here and you can edit the Bluetooth configurations. Now, it's much easier for most people just to use the graphical tools available to you and let them edit these files for you. Most casual users probably will never need to enter this folder unless you're doing things like customizations, etc. Now, you'll notice there's a lib and a lib64 folder. When you write an application, you share code between applications. So for instance, if you're writing an audio program, you don't want to have to think about how do I play it out to the speakers every time. So there's libraries that actually control that for you. So the lib and lib64 for at the root level are for system commands. So they're libraries that are shared across applications within the bin and sbin folder. And if we go down to the USR folder, you'll see there's another lib and lib64, and these are shared libraries for applications like LibreOffice, OnlyOffice, audio programs, video programs, and stuff like that. Now, the lost and found folder, this is where files go when you've had some sort of error or something happened to the system. And these are, if you've ever run a Windows recovery tool, you'll get these files that are like file chk001, file chk002, and that's what's going to be in this folder if you've ever had any system crashes that are fatal and it's left files in a state that the system doesn't know what they are. They put them in this folder. Hopefully this folder is always empty. Now, the media folder is where your computer will show things like USB drives and any other device that it can mount on startup. So if you've got an external hard drive and you plug it in, it will go into that media folder. USB drives will go into that media folder, and this is how you access the folder structures through those devices. So whilst there's a device folder that the system uses to talk to the devices, you as a user will go into the media folder and access the devices from there. Now, you can also see there is a mount folder called MNT, and this is where you manually mount a device if it doesn't get automatically mounted in media and you only want it to be mounted for a short period of time. The opt folder is a bit of a weird one in the sense that you've already seen that all your programs go into USR bin or USR S bin, but some applications actually put their software in the opt folder. Things like Google Chrome, Telegram, Spotify, things like that, they put their applications in the opt folder. The proc folder is a virtual folder where it stores all the running processes on the system. So every time you start a new application or start a new process or multiple processes, and each one of those will have a number within this folder. You shouldn't touch this folder. This isn't for you. This is for the system to use. Now, root is kind of an interesting one because you can see I'm already at root, but root really in this case is a /. This root is the home folder for the root user or the admin user, if you like. So when you log in as root, that's your home folder. The run folder is where applications put temporary files and temporary folders just whilst the program is actually running. They don't live actually on the file system at all. They're actually in memory. So as soon as the application closed down, that folder is emptied. Again, you don't need to touch this folder at all. The serve folder is things for like file servers, web servers, and things like that. It's where they put their files. And the sys folder is used to see and manage the settings of hardware. The temp folder is a physical folder where applications can write files out to it that are short-lived. So say you've got a program that needs to sort a file, it might put multiple files in there, and then once it's finished, tidy up after itself. Now you can put files in there as well yourself. If you need to put a file in there temporarily, you can put it in there. But beware that temp can get emptied at any point in time, so it's not a good place to store files permanently. If you're just going to play around for an hour or so, then you'll be okay, and you don't keep anything in there that you want to keep. We'll skip USR for a minute, but then you've got the var folder, and the var folder has things like your backups and your logs. The log files lets you see things like if you've got a problem with your printer, you can go in here and you can look at your cups log. You can go, LightDM is your display manager. Now obviously I don't have permissions to do these things, but you can look at your boot logs, you can look at the last logs, and if you've got any problems with your system, this is where you start looking for errors, because these will have your errors in it, although most of the time now the errors pop up on the screen anyway, so you probably don't need to go into there as the average Linux user. And we're going to finish off with the USR folder. We've briefly been in there before. So the bin, as we know, and the S bin. So the bin is your applications like LibreOffice. Your lib folders are the libraries for those applications, shared libraries, and you've got a local folder. Now the local folder is if you download or compile your own applications, they go into this local folder, and you'll see there's a bin and an S bin in here as well. So any executable that doesn't come from the repositories and you've downloaded and installed yourself should go into this bin folder here, and any libraries should go into there. And you can see there's a share folder, and so it's basically the same structure as USR but for local user. Now you see here that there's a share folder as well. If you go into here, there's so much in here, it's worth a video on its own, but there is a backgrounds folder, and that's where wallpapers live. And then oddly enough, if we scroll down, there's another wallpaper folder there, and you've got a whole host of wallpapers in here that you can set as well. And that really is the end of the video. If you're a normal user, the folders that you'll probably use most are your home folders and maybe the media folder. There's little reason for you to go into any of the other folders, but hopefully this video has cleared up some of the jargon for you and helped you understand what these folders are for. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time on Everyday Linux User.